Hello, I'm Mike Gresk, Mayor of the City of Wheaton, and welcome to this month's edition of Chat with the Mayor. Our guests come to us from the Wheaton-Warrenville School District 200, Joanne Panopoulos, she's the Assistant Superintendent, and also Untitled is with the Metropolitan Family Services, and they're here today to discuss the Wheaton-Warrenville Early Childhood Collaboration. Ladies, welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you for being here.
Joanne, let's start with you. From an educational district standpoint, what does this collaboration, what's the effect of it, what's the aim of it? Tell us more about it.
It means very much to District 200 and the families it serves. For the biggest piece of benefit is for our children who are early childhood, anywhere from ages even 0 through age 8. The focus is to really provide services and supports for those students so that they can be ready for kindergarten. And then continue on from there. And what this collaboration has done is really been able to pull some resources together from our early child providers and provide a sense of awareness for our families in terms of that early childhood education and the importance of it. Okay,
and that importance, what level of importance is that? I've heard a lot about in terms of education that spending dollars at this stage really impacts the child. Could you expand on that?
Sure. So intervening early means addressing any of those developmental milestones for students early on. Could mean anything from having students participate in reading or access to reading books and print and access to the community and various interactions throughout the community so that they have different experiences that help build that foundation to begin to connect learning. And so providing that sense of understanding for our parents out there, regardless of who they are, it's a very important piece in understanding early childhood development.
Got it. Teresa, you're the longtime director at Metropolitan Family Services. I wondered if you would explain the role that you see your organization playing in this collaboration.
Sure. So Metropolitan Family Services has been in this the Dupage community for about 85 years. It's our 85th anniversary this year. And we've always had an interest in providing services that help strengthen families and communities. And one of those services is early childhood education. We do that in a variety of ways between classroom-based and home-based Head Start, Early Head Start, and partnerships with school districts like District 200. About 3 years ago, the Dupage Foundation, which is a gem in Dupage County, helps to support many nonprofits in a variety of areas. They really began to do focus groups and look at the issue of early childhood education and how, as a community, we could come together to better leverage our resources, work together to engage families, help the community understand the importance. Metropolitan was right there with them, really excited about this opportunity. We applied in a competitive grant process to be the fiscal agent and hire the coordinator for their first early childhood collaboration for the Wheaton-Warrenville community. And we were gratefully selected to do that, and it really helps to fit with our mission, our strategic plan. But more importantly, we're really interested in, as Joanne said, intervening as early in a child's life as you can. There's a lot of research out there that shows that the earlier you intervene, the better the outcomes for a child. And early childhood education really looks at a child from a holistic perspective. So the academic piece, the developmental milestones, the social emotional readiness, all of those things. And part of what we're trying to do is really engage the entire Wheaton-Warrenville community in conversation, in understanding about early childhood education, in understanding why it's important to screen kids early for maybe some developmental issues that those kids might have, in understanding common messaging, all of those kinds of things.
Okay. And within the structure of that, what are the mechanics of it? How would you identify that child, the actual class, the screening, the actual classes they would attend? How do those mechanics work? Joanne?
Speak to that?
Sure. So one piece of the work that has been a result of the collaboration is a unified screening tool, basically, that Teresa had just mentioned. And that screening tool really identifies the milestones that students should be making at certain developmental stages in their life. So specifically through the ages of like 0 to 5, for example, parents can have access to what is typical for a 3-month-old, a 6-month-old, et cetera, all the way up through age 5. And that screening tool has been used and discussed and agreed upon throughout the collaborative. So parents have access to that online. And they're able to do it in a private manner and such that in their home, for example, and they could submit those results, and then those results can come back to them and let them know whether they should have some concerns about anything, and then where they can go if they do have those concerns. Jefferson Early Childhood Center is one of those areas in which parents can fill out that questionnaire, and if they do have any concerns, if they are parents within our Wheaton-Warrenville attendance area, then...
Let's say the footprint is District 200.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so they can certainly call up Jefferson and set up a time to either have their child screened further to see if they're on track for development.
So it's parent-driven via the website. Is there any outreach that would cover those parents that perhaps aren't as computer literate, don't have access to computers? What is the outreach there to that segment of the community that might very well be in need of these services? How's that being addressed?
Sure. So some ways in which we do that. We do also have a component called Parent Outreach that we focus with our collaboration. And so part of that then is reaching out to the parents either through flyers, face-to-face. We offer many activities for parents to attend, such as Day of Play, where there's various vendors around and from various parts of the community, different resource providers, early childhood providers. So there's a lot of face-to-face, and there's also individual times too, based on some of our service providers and the home care that they provide or the visits that they provide. So there's just a myriad of ways. Again, online. There's also through other communications through our district that we use, through District 200, with the links, letting parents know that these resources are accessible to them.
And the financing for this, Teresa, you touched on that. That was a...
Yeah, that's through the Dupage Foundation.
Okay.
Used to be known as the Dupage Community Foundation.
Right.
And that foundation has set aside money really to invest in early childhood education, early childhood collaborations. Wheaton-Warrenville was the first collaboration that they funded, but they've now invested in Addison, and in their third year they're looking at some other communities that they'll be investing in as well.
So it's a foundation, charitable funding here. It's not going through tax dollars. It's
No tax dollars at all.
Okay.
Really bringing money into the community from private sources, but then using that money to leverage other opportunities. For instance, District 200 was selected as one of 3 DuPage County school districts to expand some preschool classroom experiences. There'll be 60 new children. So in partnership between Metropolitan and District 200, there'll be classrooms opening for 4-year-olds. That was really made possible because when the state came looking for communities that were working together and had a collaboration going, Wheaton-Warrenville was one of those, and it really opened up an opportunity to bring in some government dollars. Those are different dollars, but those wouldn't have come into this community if the foundation hadn't first invested in Wheaton-Warrenville and the school district hadn't been really a leader in taking this initiative on. So I think it's all of us working together then to be able to leverage and bring in some other dollars as well.
It's a multifaceted partnership then.
Yeah.
And you mentioned 60 new kids. These are children that were identified as being, not necessarily being at risk, or are they? Or is it just 60 kids that got identified through the screening process then? Is that true, Joanne?
So it is. It's 60 students who do need to meet some certain criteria that the federal government and the state has asked. Typically, those will be students who do come from areas in our community that are of low income. And so students who really could utilize those resources that may not otherwise get that opportunity. And so there is a selection process, there's a criteria, and again, working with Metropolitan Family Services to have a process in place to identify those students.
And where 16 kids, where are they schooled at? Where's the physical classroom?
So 2 classrooms will be offered at Jefferson Early Childhood Center.
Okay.
And then we will also partner with KinderCare in Winfield for the 3rd classroom.
Okay. And again, paid for, there is no tuition for those 60 children? It's all paid for by these grants?
Generally, yeah, the 40 children at Jefferson would all be paid for through these grants, and then the model at KinderCare involves parents who may be working or in school who are also eligible for child care assistance dollars. And so that would be kind of a subsidy to the grant for those children to be in the KinderCare classroom.
Is there any projection or any thought on the actual numbers that you could reach out? 60 is a wonderful number. What if it was 100 or 200? Or have you been able to identify that?
Well, I
Numbers
think,
in need. Go ahead.
yeah, well, we know there's a significant need in certain parts of the Wheaton-Warrenville community. You're aware that Wheaton is one of the areas where World Relief settles a number of refugee families, so we have pockets of refugee and immigrant families in the Wheaton-Warrenville community that we're really targeting. But we also know that regardless of some of the typical at-risk factors like income and immigrant status, that all families can use some help with understanding children's development. So really, we have kind of a multi-pronged approach, and that is we want some common messaging out in the community. We want grandparents, aunts, uncles, parents to learn the importance of early childhood education, things that they could be doing to stimulate their child's development, to learn about the screening that Joanne was talking about. We're partnering with the faith-based community, a number of those preschool programs.
Using the church network.
We are. Park District, library, children's museum. So we're trying to get all kinds of aspects of where a child might be, who's touching a child, the medical community, pediatricians. So really, we hope to have a broad reach in terms of children getting screened, and also to identify children who might have some needs. And then we hope to then link children to the resources that are available. Right now, the preschool slots are 60. We're hoping that over time we'll be able to grow that as we identify children that have that need. We're certain it's more than 60, but that is a funding question and something that, as a collaboration, has to get worked on.
And the funding then would, again, be foundation-based. It would be corporate sponsorships, perhaps?
Yeah,
or?
It might be other government dollars. I think the other thing I neglected to say was there are more than 60 preschool slots in District 200 right now. You could speak to the number in the special ed and the other piece of Jefferson, and we have Head Start too.
Sure,
Right. Currently at Jefferson, I would say our average is about 280 students who access services at Jefferson, and that includes typical developing peers as well as students with special needs.
Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, there's a morning and afternoon shift there?
Correct.
So the 280 is split morning to afternoon?
Right, that's the
Okay.
total number
Okay.
between
Okay.
morning and afternoon.
And then Metropolitan has partnered with District 200 also to have Head Start and Early Head Start, both center-based in a classroom and home-based. So the numbers vary, but we're serving approximately 90 children from District 200 in our center-based Head Start programming. We have a classroom in Johnson Elementary School, and then we also have a classroom up in partnership with Outreach Community Ministries in the Outreach Center that they have by the Gunderson Apartments.
Carroll Stream.
Yeah,
Right,
up in
correct.
Carroll Stream. And then we have another site in Carroll Stream where we bus in some District 200 children also who are kind of in the northern section. And then we have a small number of 0 to 3 children who are served in a home-based program through Early Head Start.
And the home-based program, it's
home visiting, so that you have a early childhood educator who goes into the home, meets weekly with the parents and the
Okay.
child to help that parent become that child's first and best teacher, understand that child's development, learn various things they could do with the child to help stimulate that development. Then as a part of that, there's also monthly socialization, so families who are all in the home-based program come together with their little ones, and there's a program of some sort, education for the parents, play time for parents with their children, things like that.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
yeah.
Where do you see the program headed? I should probably ask, how long has it been in existence, first of all? It's relatively recent, I believe.
It is 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And where do you see that heading in the next 3, 5, 8 years? What do you know? What would be blue sky this one for me? What do you think?
Do you want to
I
start?
can start.
Please.
So, of course, we'd like to continue the work that we're doing and even expand on the work that we're doing. And so, you know, a lot of our focus, our goals are in the areas of kindergarten readiness and parent outreach, professional development for the service providers that exist within our collaboration and even beyond. Every year we also do see more engagement from additional service providers, so we're growing every year. So we'd like to see that continue. We'd also like to see, you know, growth in those goal areas that I mentioned in terms of, you know, reaching out to our community more, you know, just really seeing that our students and our families are benefiting from the work that we're doing. So we'd like to see that continue and also then more or less build capacity within those service providers so that we have this comprehensive approach. You know, there's a greater awareness for our families in the community to really understand that it's available for any parent in the district in terms of understanding student needs and really just helping, as Teresa mentioned, stimulate that growth for that student, even from age of birth all the way up. So we look forward to that and just continuing the work that we're doing, and then also seeing some increases of that student kindergarten readiness. That's something that we're really paying attention to at this point, and what is kindergarten readiness, and then being able to really collect some data on these students who are...
So you're quantifying it?
Yes.
Yes.
So if the child, I mean, a scenario might be if the child has that the 3 and 4 year old preschool experience, how
and see how they fare out as they continue through District 200.
hit the big time, hit kindergarten and first grade. Okay,
Exactly.
good. Could you address? I know I've seen numbers on it, the you know, the dollar spent at this level and what it means 3 and 7 and 10 and 12 years down the road. Might you touch on that one? The idea of in the long run, these are dollars well spent. I don't know if you could address the statistics on that one or not.
Well, I think even the numbers have changed, but recently it had been $1 invested as $7 on the return for students. So if we intervene early and really focus on getting the students the access to educational experiences that they need, then down the road there should not be that much need for them to kind of get caught up on their skills, whether it be academic, social, emotional. Oftentimes we do see students who may not have had a preschool experience or some formal education, and so once they do get into the school system, we will see that we need to provide some additional supports beyond what typical peers need, and so that's where that extra dollar comes in, in providing those supports for students who may not be able to respond to the typical environment or classroom environment once they're in school.
And those type of students that are atypical, what would depending on obviously the situation, well, what would those changes in his educational processes, training be, even at that early age, at that 3 or 4? Could you give me an example? I realize there's nothing,
Sure.
nothing as such thing as a typical student, but if you could give me a usual or likely scenario.
Sure. So sometimes if students are not following along with the typical peers, they may need some extra support in math instruction or reading instruction or some speech services, for example, or other related services. And so that would require a specialist or a special education teacher, for example, or just another teacher for that matter, who could really go in and provide additional support for that student. So that additional support would be on top of what a typical peer gets. And so with that requires that extra personnel and extra resources, more or less, to address their specific needs. Sometimes we also do see some additional resources in the area of like attendance, where students are not attending school regularly. That could be a result of not regularly coming to school at an earlier age, or having that value of a priority for school to be that priority, I should say. And so that could also be an outcome that we do have to invest some more time in for those students in dealing with potential disciplinary matters and things of that nature. So,
And savings down the road, once again, catching it early.
Exactly.
That
Instilling
1 for 7,
those values.
That
and
1 for 7 ratio that you gave. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Very good, very good. Teresa, it sounds like a wonderful program. It is a wonderful program, and indeed fortunate that we have it here in town. But you know, of all the school districts in all the world, as the saying goes, why? Not that we're looking at the situation and criticizing it or anything, but why would they pick Wheaton? Why was it District 200 Wheaton Warrenville that is the beneficiary of this foundation, of this program?
Right.
Could you?
Well, I think they picked District 200 because of the leadership that District 200 has and how invested they are in children. Now, you would think most school districts would be invested in their children, but District 200, I think, has been a kind of a thought leader in this whole arena. They really want to help the community see on a broader level why this is important and why it's economically a good thing to do, saving money down the road. They've been very open. They've really welcomed all of the partners with open arms. It has felt like a true partnership. If we get stuck, we sit down and talk about it, figure it out, and then move ahead. That doesn't always happen with school districts. That can sometimes be a little more isolated and insulated from what happens in the broader human service and early childhood education community, but that's not what District 200's done. They've really said, we want to be a leader in this. We want to open ourselves up to the community. We want to work with community providers, and we want to together do the best we can for our kids and leverage as many resources. So, you know, I'm a little biased because I grew up here and my kids went to school here, but in my professional capacity, I've worked with a lot of school districts, and I think District 200 is really a leader in how they collaborate in the community, and so I think that's why.
Sure.
That's why.
If you could expand on that too. A concerted effort, obviously, on the part of administration, yourself included, administration at 200. And what was that focus? How did that come about? I guess the flip side of that is, and why aren't other districts that focused, that orientated?
Well, as Teresa said, it's the leadership, and it's not just my leadership, it's even the superintendent above. And so, you know, realizing our population in Wheaton Warrenville, District 200, and realizing that we do have a need for our students of families with low incomes, and realizing that it's across the board from early childhood age all the way through grade 12. And so we really take a unified approach to address and support those students. And so early childhood is no different than the rest of our grade levels. And so when this opportunity came, we definitely jumped on, you know, the ability to say, yes, let's make sure that we can work together in partnership and treat them no differently than the rest of our students who are grades kindergarten through 12.
Very good. Now, mom and dad, or grandma and gramps, or uncles and aunts that are watching this, if they can get more, they want to get more information on this collaboration, early childhood collaboration from District 200. Where would they go? How could they get that information? Teresa?
Well, they could go a few places. They could Google Bright and Early Dupage. That is the initiative that the Dupage Foundation has, and they would get to the foundation's website and learn about the collaborations. They could go to Metropolitan's website, which is www.metrofamily.org, and they could click on the Dupage Center, because we have centers around Metro Chicago, and they could learn about the Wheaton Warrenville Early Childhood Collaboration. And I know they could go to the district website as well.
And that information, Joanne?
So the district website is cusd200.org, and there's tabs across the top, and it would be parents and students. And then once they click on that, there's a early childhood collaboration tab. And click on there, and it'll give information about the collaboration as well as a link to that screening tool.
And as the saying goes, user-friendly.
Yes.
And then, if I understand it, it's a self-screening tool, at least initially.
Yes.
And then there's other questions, there's phone calls, and people that they can follow up with.
Yes.
Okay, very good. I appreciate it. Again, our guests today on Chat with the Mayor have come to us in reference to the Wheaton Warrenville Early Childhood Collaboration. They are Joanne Panopoulos. Joanne is Assistant Superintendent in District 200, and also Teresa Nihil. Teresa is the Executive Director of Metropolitan Family Services. I'm Mike Gresk, Mayor of the City of Wheaton. Thank you for joining us on Chat with the Mayor, and we'll see you around town.
Hi, I'm Joanne Panopoulos, Assistant Superintendent for Student Services in District 200. To learn more about the Early Childhood Collaboration, you can visit our website at cusd200.org, Parent Students tab, and Early Childhood Collaboration. All information is there. You can click on links, and you can certainly help yourself to a developmental screening. Information will be provided for you and other contact information.
Hi, I'm Teresa Nyhill, the Executive Director of Metropolitan Family Services, Dupage, and you can get more information about the Wheaton-Warrenville Early Childhood Collaboration by going to Metropolitan's website, www.metrofamily.org, or you can go to the Dupage Foundation website, click on the tab that says Brighton Early Initiative, and look for the Wheaton-Warrenville Early Childhood Collaboration. We hope that you'll all take a look at this, and we can screen and reach as many children as possible. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarah Arness, Curator for the DuPage County Historical Museum. Join us for our new exhibit, Inheriting DuPage, A Family History, through September 2015. Learn about some of the early founding families to this area and view some collections that have never been on display before. We welcome you 7 days a week, free admission, and you can learn more at dupagemuseum.org.
Hello, I'm Medina Ayhan, and I am from the Turkish American Society at Wheaton. If you want to know more about our events, our programs, and our community outreach events, you can reach us at www.info@taswheaton.org, and our email is info@taswheaton.org. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Paula Barrington with the Downtown Wheaton Association. For more information about what's happening in Downtown Wheaton, go to downtownwheaton.com.
And I'm Carrie O'Brien with the Wheaton Chamber of Commerce. And you can find out more about what's happening in the Wheaton area at wheatonchamber.com. And Wheaton's got it all, doesn't it, Paula?
I would agree.
Hi, I'm Sandy Gabor, Executive Director of the Western DuPage Special Recreation Association. If you would like to hear about our programs for children, teens, and adults who have special needs, you can contact us at www.wdsra.com or give us a call, 630-681-0962.
I'm Kim McNeil with the Ross K. McNeil Foundation to End Pediatric Brain Cancer. For more information about our foundation, please go to our website, r33m.org.
Hello, I'm Carol Simler, Executive Director of DuPage PADS with a mission to end homelessness here in DuPage County. And for more information, please go to our website, www.dupagepads.org, or call us directly at 630-682-3846. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pam Kostecki. I'm the Executive Director of Midwest Shelter for Homeless Veterans. Our mission is to provide veterans and their families with supportive services and housing services to lead them back to self-sufficiency. For more information about the services that we provide, please check out our website at www.helpaveteran.org or give us a call at 630-871-8387. Thank you.